I'm Elisa and welcome to Polymer Clay TV. Today I have a really cool technique that I discovered while playing with our brand new stencils. And right now there's only 4 in the line, but they will be growing. Kira has been designing them like crazy. And this is the one that I used here on this beautiful design. And I'm going to show you how I achieved this because I had a little contest going in Polymer Clay Tribe to see who could figure out how I made this. Only 3 people guessed correctly, but I'm going to show you that. Then this one here, the hearts, is right here, so you can see. You can get some really cool looks. And then, of course, there's a lotus and a bricks. But I think today I'm going to work with the trellis. That's what Kira named that one. But it's a lantern, a Moroccan lantern look, I would say. So let me just move these out of the way and we'll get started. I'll bring those back in and show you something else after. But we're going to be working, today I've chosen copper leaf. And this is just an imitation leaf that you can usually buy at the craft store. If not, you can certainly get it online. And they're very thin, so if you have a draft or you have a ceiling fan on, make sure and shut it off before you start this project because your leaf will blow away. So the way I like to work with the leaf is I just leave it where it is in the booklet it comes in. And then I place my clay, which has already been conditioned. This is on the 3rd thickest setting on my POS machine, but really for this, it doesn't really matter. You just need it thick enough so that it's not going to fall apart. Oops. I'm just getting the excess off here with my blade, but you can do that any way you'd like. The idea is just to cover the entire piece with the copper leaf. And if you have to piece in pieces because it doesn't work out for you, just go ahead and do that as well. So you just want to make sure, though, like I said, that it's covering the whole piece of clay. Just like so, or at least most of it. And you can shake off the rest or pull off the rest, whatever you can do to get it off. It can be a little messy, but not too bad. It's not like using paint, how messy that can be. But this is a much easier. It's really cold out here in my studio. I know you guys are going to be like, yeah, how cold is it in Florida? But it was in the 30s this morning, so my studio is really cold and this clay is not so soft. So it is better in some instances to work with a softer clay, and sometimes it's better to have a harder clay. So next, you want to take your stencil, and it doesn't matter which side. It really doesn't matter, but you want to line it up on top of the copper leaf or whatever color leaf you use. Now, this is a little tricky because the copper leaf, or the leaf, I should say, wants to kind of repel the Mylar stencil because that's what these stencils are. They're Mylar. They're actually a really thick Mylar. They're 10, the size is 10. I don't know if that's millimeters or what it is, but it is a size 10. So thickness. So they're thick and they do want to pop up on you, so you want to roll over it until it gets a nice impression into the clay, and isn't popping up on you. And that's important. So I think I have it right there. So then I'm just going to come back and shave off this top layer, like so. And like I said, it's going to get messy. I wasn't lying when I said that, but I'm going to put this right here onto this paper. And so you just want to do this to the whole piece until you've got most of this top layer shaved off, or pretty much the whole top layer. And you'll know that because you won't really see any copper leaf in the design. And so, you don't need a super sharp blade for this. In fact, a super sharp blade might actually damage your Mylar if you jab into it. So if you have an older blade or whatever, this might be the time to use that. But because it doesn't take much to shave this off, you're just kind of taking your blade and running it across the surface. You're not trying to dig into it or anything like that. You're just completely running it across the surface. And that looks good right there. So then I'm just going to gently peel this up. And there you have it. It leaves the design down in the crevices of the design, of the lantern or trellis design. How cool is that? And I just discovered this while I was playing around, and I just love it. I love it. It looks so Moroccan, Middle Eastern, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful look. And you can do this with any stencil. I have not tried it with the bigger stencils that they sell on the market. I would imagine if you can get it deeply impressed, it could work, but these jewelry size ones work really, really good because, you know, they're small and you can easily, you know, get the design cut off the top. So I just love it. I love the way it looks. Like I said, you're going to have a mess. You'll have to clean that up. But let's move on to the next thing that I wanted to show you that you can do that's really cool. So I was browsing at Michael's a few weeks back, and in the sale bin for about 49 cents, I got these little spools. And I thought, how cool would those be to make some beads with? And I found out, super cool. I mean, these are the lotus design, and this was done a little differently, but it was done with leaf as well. And you just can make some really cool beads, and these, they're not too big. They weigh absolutely like next to nothing, and they're really cool. So I wanted to show you those, and we'll take our designs, the ones that we've done with this technique here. These two, I'm not going to do this one because I'm going to cut that out with the cookie cutter and show you how cool that looks too. But let's just make a bead real fast. And what I like to do is either use Weld Bond or Sobo glue. And the reason I'm doing that is because it helps it to stick to wood, which is what these particular little, really they're like little thread spools. So if you have like an old-timey, they used to make these threads, these spools for the thread back in the day that were wood. So if you have any round, this is a good use for them if you had no use for them before. So I'm just painting on a little of the Sobo glue, and it's only looking green because my brush is green. And so I'm just going to set that aside for a second. And now I want to measure how big I'm going to need to make my piece. And let's take another one and kind of sit it on there. And I like to make it a little larger so you can kind of bring it up around the corners a little. So I'm going to cut about here. Move this aside. And then I'm going to come back with that one that I just put the Sobo glue on. And I'm going to start to roll that until I see that it's meeting. And you want to make sure that there's no air getting trapped in between there. That's the trickiest part. You don't want any air in there. And so then I just trim it about where it meets. And trim again here. And then I'm just going to use my fingers to gently piece it together. And you can kind of give it a little roll. And you don't want to apply too much pressure because you don't want to distort the design. How gorgeous is that? And so you can bring this up around the edges. You can then use a little, one of our little cookie cutters like this would work. They're little plunger cutters. I'm just plunging out a little piece here of the design. And then I'll just piece that right in there. And that's really all there is to it, you know. The most of it would be making sure that you get no air pockets trapped and smooth out your lines well. Let's do that on the side here. Bring this up around the edges a little. And so you get a nice adherence. And see, you know, because we shaved this, the design's going to actually remain in there. So let me get another, I'm going to get another cut off of here for this side and place that right in there. And then bring this back up around until it meets. Oops. And it's that simple to make a really, really cute bead. I mean, this is actually more of an elegant looking bead, the way that, you know, the metallic looks. And then you would take your needle, you know, whatever needle you have, and you'd poke out the hole till you feel it on the other side. Come back on the other side, poke back through. Oops. I didn't hold that while I did it. Let's see. There we go. And then you can make this hole as big as you need to by kind of doing this motion here. That's what I do. I make the hole smaller initially, and then I come back and open it up. That way it'll fit on like some sari ribbon or another kind of piece of ribbon, whatever it is that you're wanting to string it on. Because these are big beads, chances are you're going to want to use a little bit bigger thread. And you can even run your knitting needle over like this to kind of smooth the seam. And that's all there is to it. A really interesting way to make some fun beads that are uniquely shaped, and you can make them any way you want. You know, you can use this technique. You can do cane work, anything you want to add to these. And like I said, I think I paid 49 cents for this whole package, or 48 cents. I'm throwing them at you. So very inexpensive, and you can make some really super cute earrings with not a lot. I mean, these would be great earrings. They would be great to have a pendant with things hanging down, maybe some tassels or some beads. There's just lots of ideas you can come up with to use them. And so last but not least, let me just show you this. Let me move this out of the way. And I have some cookie cutters, because our cookie cutters are growing. We keep making more and more. This is actually our latest one, which is the bird, and it comes with 2 feathers, which is really cool. But because this is the Moroccan lantern, which is basically the same shape as these cookie cutters, I'm going to go ahead and use this. Now what I did was I did the same exact technique I did earlier, but I laid it on another sheet of a different color clay so that my back would be nice and clean if I decided to make earrings. You know, I don't know that I'm going to, but if I make them, that makes a nice clean back. And so I'm just pressing my cookie cutter in, giving it a little wiggle, make sure it's nicely cut. Ooh. There we go. And you can turn it over and kind of clean any edges that might be, and then poke it right on out. Come on. How gorgeous is that? I mean, it's so pretty, and it's really not a lot of work. You saw. I really just love the way this technique looks with, you know, pressing the copper leaf right onto the clay, putting the stencil over the copper leaf, and then shaving it. Just a few simple steps, and you have something that's super beautiful. So I hope you will give this a try. You can find cutters in our shop at createalong.com. You can find the stencils in our shop at createalong.com. And keep checking back, because like I said, we're adding more all the time. We're on a roll. So anyways, we'd love to see what you make. Come on over to polymerclaytribe.com, which is our Facebook group. And everybody's welcome. It's free to join. Don't forget, we have our free app that you can download from iTunes. And you can also download it from Google Play, which is the Android version. So that's free, and you can access all of our videos, everything we have going on off of that app. And if you haven't heard about Polymer Clay Universe, you definitely want to check that out. We're going to have like monthly updates from some of the people that were designers for Polymer Cafe, some of the artists. And Suzanne Ivesters joined us to do Polymer Clay Chef. Or Polymer Chef, so that lives on, yay! We have Tony Ransfield, we have Cindy Holt, and we have Shannon Tabor. So it's a great crew, and we're going to be adding, Cindy McGee's going to be contributing, and a few others. So it's going to be a lot of fun, so definitely check that out at polymerclayuniverse.com. And I think that's about it for today. I will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me.